Hey YouTube, what's going on? So, as you can tell by the title of this video, Black Lives Matter, I'm sick of you niggas. So, if you're not aware, Milo Yiannopoulos, social commentator, political commentator, conservative agitator, however you want to describe him, gave a speech at DePaul University the other day. The speech was in regards to what he usually talks about: feminism, social justice, regressive left, and the things going on recently in those spheres. And it was about 10 minutes in, disrupted, or hijacked rather, by some Black Lives Matter activists. Now, personally, I wasn't going to make a video about this. I've seen how Black Lives Matter acts before. I've already made a much more, in-depth critical video, explaining my reasons why I don't associate with the movement, my critiques of the movement, and how they operate, and their beliefs, and their, goals, and their demands, and everything like that. If you want to check that out, I'll link to it in the description. But yeah, I've seen Black Lives Matter do stupid shit 24/7. So, and I've already said before my stance on them. So I really didn't see a point in going back and saying something else again. But I have been thinking about something lately that sparked me to actually make this video. The thing I've been thinking about is that have you ever noticed that Black Lives Matter is very much opposed to self-criticism? Well, essentially criticism of black people. Think about this. Whenever Black Lives Matter talks about issues, with police brutality or crime rates or incarceration or anything like that, basically any issue that black people face, and someone white comes up and says, well, white people face these issues too, they immediately come back with, no, we're talking about black lives. Don't try to derail the discussion. Don't try to bring your white problems in here. We're talking about black lives. We're focusing on black people. Let's focus on that. You can have your, we're not dismissing those problems, but we're focusing on black issues. But in the same sense, whenever someone talks about, black on black crime, or issues that black people face, in regards to themselves, the high murder rate among young African American men, the incarceration rate, fatherless homes, the issue of welfare dependency. Once all that stuff comes up, they immediately shift and point to, oh well, white people have these issues too, but look at white people, look at what they do, and all this bullshit. If you point out, black people, starting riots in Baltimore and shit, they say, well, white people riot too. It's funny because anytime the criticism is placed on black people, then they immediately justify, bringing in white people to discussion. But whenever it's talking about the victimhoods of black people or the hardships of black people, they want to dismiss all other racial hardships of, that white people face or that Hispanics face. They want to solely focus on black people. It's complete fucking hypocrisy. So I figured, hey, it may be time for a little self-criticism, huh? It may be time for Black Lives Matter to look in the mirror. So this is what this video is going to be. My completely open, just unscripted me criticizing Black Lives Matter. So let's get into it.
And the reason you can't see them is because they're not there. Nothing happens. I mean, hello, darling.
Sir, please,
do you need some help?
Sir,
do you
please.
Need some help?
Sir, please.
We'd like to ask you to please.
Sir, please.
Can we ask you to stop, please?
Sir. Sir.
We good!
So, if it wasn't for you, for me, that shit was pretty hard to watch. But let me see, where the fuck do I start with this? let's just start with the two main people. The guy on stage wearing the navy blazer and the chick, with the white shorts. So this guy, if you don't know, in earlier reports, it's been confirmed that the guy actually threatened to punch Milo once he got up on stage, and the girl, as you can see, was all up in Milo's face, being aggressive, threatening him, basically trying to start shit. And Milo kept his cool. I don't know if I could have done that shit, so good on you for doing that. But let's just look at this example of just these two people, because you may disagree, but I'm going to come out and say it. These two people are a great form of symbolism. They're a great personification of the overall black community in America, or at least the urban African American community. So the immediate reaction that these black protesters had to someone up on stage, saying things they don't agree with, saying things that may hurt their feelings or whatever type of reaction they had to it, their immediate reaction, as you can see here, was emotional. Purely emotional. All right? Just complete all logic, reason out the fucking window. Emotions trump all in this scenario. And the thing is, this is how a lot of black people act. They act emotional. They act aggressive. They do stupid shit like dance around and just shit like that. They get up in people's faces. They threaten them. And this shit happens all the fucking time. And to me, this is one of the core problems that Black Lives Matter, that we have, that I believe we face in the African American community, that I don't think Black Lives Matter addresses. We hear all the time from Black Lives Matter that, the reason that all these black people are dying, the reason that we have so many problems in our community is because of, external forces, whether that be the white man, or whether that be the government, whether it be the state, or whether that be, institutional racism. It always comes down to institutional racism, or some Black Lives Matter feminists might say it's sexism and, male power and things like that. It always comes to some sort of external force, external entity that is responsible for our problems. And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of shit that comes from the state. There's a lot of shit that comes from the government. There's a lot of shit that just comes from general, social interaction and just social stereotypes and stigmas, perpetuated by the collective citizenry of America that does attribute or contribute to black problems, or problems that black people face in America. But overall, I think most of the problems are attributed to niggas acting like this. Getting aggressive, hostile, irrational, emotional, and all this other shit is the reason why so much shit pops off in the black community. Now, let me see, where did I start off with? Let's start off with, let's start off with black on black crime. Imagine a scenario where a disagreement just occurred. Someone, let's say someone just said something bad about someone else, and now they're upset at each other. Imagine someone coming up to you and saying, hey, you said this, I disagree with it, I think that was completely uncalled for, I don't really appreciate you doing this, basically going up to someone, respectfully voicing your frustrations, and, calmly seeking a solution to the conflict that you're having. Imagine how that would play out in one party. Let's say one party's doing that. And now let's say the other party in the conflict comes up acting like this bitch right here. Loud, mad, going up in your face, talking about what you go do, what the fuck you gotta say, what you gotta acting like a fucking nigga, ignorant, crazy ass bitch. Imagine that was confronted with the rational person, the sane person, the person who was just, trying to calmly express their frustration or calmly express disagreements. Imagine them coming up to you, or this chick, we'll just use her, coming up to you like that. To me, once that happens, if I were the other party, I'm no longer looking to find a rational solution with you. I'm no longer looking to reason with you. I'm no longer looking to find a calm and, respectful or just, some sort of civil alternative to solving our conflict. At that point, you're a fucking threat. You've proven yourself to be incapable of any type of rationale. Or even if you are capable of rationale, the emotions that you're displaying are so skyrocket fucking high that any type of rationale or reason or logic that may be in your character that I could possibly attain or could possibly get to try to reason with you and try to avoid things to escalate is so far packed down under this skyrocketing, irrational, crazy fucking emotion that I'm not even going to look for it. So after that, what's the next logical conclusion? That's right. I become aggressive. I become defensive. I'm seeing that you're aggressive. You're ready to fucking assault me, so whoa, what the fuck? I'm not about to just sit here and try to talk to you. No, I'm about to get you to back the fuck up. And to me, I see that's how a lot of conflicts in black communities start. It starts with one person going fucking overboard, going crazy as shit, and then the next person, getting defensive and has to go equally crazy as shit because now they're in fear of their life from this aggressive psychopathic motherfucker. And granted, it didn't happen here, but let this had been the same situation between two black people in pick whatever urban, metropolitan city that you want on the streets. If this shit had happened, what would be the next thing? Fighting. Shooting, somebody gets stabbed, somebody getting stumped out, somebody kept going, running off to get their car and coming back and slamming into a fucking crowd. If shit happens all the fucking time, back to back, it's almost predictable. It's almost like you feeling like fucking That's So Raven. This shit's so predictable, like you can see in the future, oh, I know exactly how this shit's gonna play out. And it does it every time. So when you're behaving so fucking irrational, so fucking threatening, how do you expect the other party to react? All right, now we get into the core issue that Black Lives Matter, usually talk about, which is police brutality. Police, always escalating, to shooting black people. Imagine, I know not all the time, but imagine that someone comes up to a cop. Let's say you're a cop. Let's say someone comes up to you acting like this. What the fuck is going to be your reaction? Personally, my reaction is going to be, I'm giving you one time, back the fuck up, or I'm about to pull my gun and the shit's about to happen. Because right now, I can't trust you. I can't reason with you. I can't expect any type of conversation for you. Now, granted, I'm not excusing police brutality because there are a lot of situations where cops just completely fuck up. All right, where they're actually the agitators. They're actually the aggressors. Where they actually escalate situations. But in many cases, it is the alternative party, which commonly is black people escalating the fucking situation for no goddamn reason. And the fucked up part is, I've witnessed this plenty of times, so don't say I'm fucking straw manning or I'm just making shit up. I've seen this shit plenty of times in my own fucking community. I live in Atlanta, so of course, you see this shit 24/7. But whenever someone acts like this, niggas don't seek to resolve the situation. They don't seek to calm the situation. Just like as you see here, all the people lined up, the protesters, the ones who weren't this crazy bitch, just the ones who were just, the mindless followers just chanting whatever fucking slogan they were chanting. They just sit back like they hear this shit. They hear this shit popping off. They hear this bitch, threatening folks, but they just like, okay, yeah, let her do it. And they just ignoring the shit. Either that, or they'll fucking pull out a fucking cell phone and start filming the shit for World Star. And the thing is, when black people condone or legitimize actions like this is why our communities don't get better. These people are adults. They're not fucking children. Yet they're behaving like they're having a temper tantrum because they can't watch another hour of cartoons before bedtime. And this shit happens all the goddamn time. And I'm sick of people excusing that shit. And I don't really want to bring gender into the mix, but based on my personal fucking experience, it's just me speaking from my experience, it's usually or commonly black women who are the most fucking aggressive in regards to these type of situations. When they act like this, they go off the fucking rails. They're almost the most irrational people that you can meet in terms of these type of situations. And the thing is, black folks will see shit like this and be proud of it. They'll say black power, this is good, teach white boy a lesson, what the fuck? Black Lives Matter constantly talks about how black people are underprivileged or underrepresented in, types of hierarchical areas, especially in terms of, American communities, American culture, like corporate America, politics, pretty much any type of employment hierarchy or social hierarchy. Black people are underrepresented. We're always, at the mid to low, totem pole, whereas, white people, I'm not gonna say all white people are at the top, but at the top is usually mostly held by white people. Have you ever imagined how when people act like this and this shit goes viral and everyone sees this type of shit, which it happens all the fucking time. If you don't believe me, go to fucking World Star. This shit happens on a day-to-day basis, and that's just when it's being filmed. But seriously, tell me, Black Lives Matter, anyone from Black Lives Matter, tell me, or anyone, any black person, or any person really, period, tell me, if you saw a bitch acting like this in the streets, who the fuck would hire her or employ her as the CEO of a multi-million-dollar company? Who the fuck would elect her as president? She can't even She can't even discuss ideas without getting up in somebody's face, threatening them, getting violent, and dancing. Who the fuck would put you in a hierarchical power? Who the fuck would give you the chance or the shot to lead? I'll tell you who. Nobody. Nobody's gonna give you a fucking chance acting like this. Nobody's gonna give you a chance displaying these qualities of character. Nobody's gonna fucking like you. Nobody's going to feel comfortable giving you any type of shot because you've already just proven yourself, display yourself to be the perfect representation of what the massive stereotype is to be an ain't shit nigga. The issue is not always to be blamed on institutional racism. The issue is not always to be blamed on, underprivileged or, lack of opportunity. Sometimes you forfeit the opportunity. Sometimes you put yourself out of the market before you even walk in the door. Shit like this puts black people out of the market before they even walk in the door. And you can say that, people shouldn't, judge, they shouldn't make presumptive judgments on, the actions of one or two people. Whereas I'm not going to say that because black people act like this all the fucking time. You can say you don't, you can say, no, most black people are completely rational people. No. Most of y'all fucking act like this. And most of y'all, even if you don't act like this, you justify shit like this. You joking on Twitter, sharing this type of shit on your timelines, saying, oh, look how funny this shit is. Oh, bitch was crazy. What the fuck? Y'all do this shit 24/7. And guess what? White folks peeping that shit. All right? Your employer peeping that shit. People in corporate power, people, the police is peeping that shit. They like, oh, I see how these motherfuckers act. I see how they move in their communities. So I know how to carry myself when one of them approaches me. I know how to, if I'm ever in this situation, I already know what to expect. So they are already on edge because they see this shit 24/7. They see how people act like this all the time. The thing is, if you can't muster up the slightest bit of self-control to where you can just talk, these people, when they bum rush the stage, they didn't even ask a question. They didn't even attempt at dialogue. They didn't even attempt at, some sort of, peaceful conflict resolution. They immediately went to, shouting. They immediately went to silencing the opposition. They immediately went to threatening. The girl stole a microphone. What the fuck? You kidding me? The black person stole some shit? You're the most obvious and laughable fucking stereotype possible, imaginable. It's almost unreal. So if protests like this, if activists like this, which there are tons of, if they're going to be the front page, they're going to be the headlines of Black Lives Matter, if they're going to be the headlines, on the front lines of this movement, you have to ask yourself eventually, what are these people defending? What are they trying to, what are they trying to get across? What's their fucking message? Because if your message is, treat black people the way anyone else should be treated, treat black people with respect and dignity, treat black people like humans, like actually rational, insane, intelligent human beings who are worthy of respect. If that's your message, but you go and act like this, the message is fucking lost. There's no point in you saying shit like that. If you really want people to stop, denying black people loans because they're automatically presumed to be irresponsible, if you want people to stop following you around when you go into high-end, shopping districts or, department stores, if you want to be treated with respect, you have to display respectable behavior. That's the one thing that I never see from Black Lives Matter. They never take responsibility. They never invoke the importance of personal responsibility. They're always just asking some sort of external entity to help them out. They're always asking for handouts from corporate America. They're always asking for universities to give them special, quotas or, affirmative action to help them get in, to get higher education. They're always asking government, to change their laws or change their practices, to help black communities. They're always asking for some sort of, institutional policy to be enacted. They never just say, hey, maybe I, as an individual, should take the power upon myself to try and change my community. Maybe I should change my actions first. And if I change my actions, maybe that'll influence someone else to change their actions. And if they change their actions, maybe 10 other people will change their actions, then 100 more, then 1,000 more, then 100,000 more, then 1,000,000 more. And over time, maybe there won't be anything to point to when people claim that there's so much crime in the black community. Maybe there won't be anything to point to when people claim there's so much sexual promiscuity and familial irresponsibility. Maybe, just maybe, if you exemplify the traits the characteristics that you want people to to display to you, to treat you as, to respect, civility, intellectual, honesty, compassion, just being a good fucking person. If you want them to treat you like any respectable human being, maybe you want to act like it first and not like this stupid ass bitch. Yes, I'm talking to you if you're watching this. Yo, dumbass. People like this, not acting like this all the fucking time. And furthermore, if you really believe that there's institutional racism, if you really believe that everyone at the 1% is racist and the government's racist, the corporations are racist, everyone's, has some sort of inherent, prejudice against black people and minorities, and they're just looking and actively pursuing the opportunity to keep them down, to keep them out of the realm of opportunity, and just to basically keep them, impoverished or keep them dumbed down or unintelligent or whatever your imaginary boogeyman is of these hierarchical entities, that they just hate black people and want to keep you down. If that was true, why the fuck are you constantly asking these type of institutions to help you out? If the whole world is racist, if all of hierarchical America is racist, why the fuck would you ask them to help you out? Why the fuck are you asking the government to help you? Why the fuck are you asking corporations to help you? Why the fuck are you asking universities to help you? Why aren't you taking responsibility on your goddamn self to do some shit about your own life? Why the fuck does someone else have to help you out of a rut? Why does somebody else Oh my god, I don't think you guys really understand how fucking pissed I am at this. And it's not really something that's new. It's just something that I believe I've held for a long ass time. And I'm just tired of it. As the title says, I'm sick of you niggas. I am sick and tired of the irresponsibility, the lack of accountability, the victim status, the victimhood, the fact that it's always someone else's fault. No, if you act like this, shit is your fault. If you fail in life, if you can't really achieve anything because you act like this, because you threaten people, because you are always fighting with each other, because you're always killing each other, if that's why the incarceration rates are so high, if that's why, if that's why black people can't achieve in life, it's your fucking fault. It's your fault, nigga. Do better. Do better. Do better, man. Instill the values of, of placing, logic and reason over emotion. Preach that to your children. Don't just tell them that the white man's out to get them their whole life. Don't just tell them that the reason that they won't make it in life, or the reason that they won't achieve in life, is because someone's going to be out there trying to hold them down. Don't just make them out to be the victim. Don't make yourself out to be the victim. Take responsibility. Stop focusing on what other people can do to help you. Stop focusing on what Obama can do to help you. Stop focusing on what these corporations do to help you. Stop focusing about what universities and university professors can do to help you. Focus on what you can do to help you. Focus on what character traits that you may need to work on, so the fact that you don't exhibit the qualities that this bitch right here and this nigga right here are exhibiting. Seriously, I'm not even affiliated with your movement. Personally, I don't give a fuck about the success or failure of your movement, because right now you've already proven yourself time and time again to not be worthy of my support. You've proven yourself to be completely antithetical to my values, to things that I appreciate in human beings. You are the exact opposite of that, Black Lives Matter. That's why I don't support you. That's why I actively look forward to your fucking failure. We need something else. What you're preaching to black people is not going to help them. What you're preaching to black people is not going to enact change in their life. What you're preaching is essentially, is basically boils down to, I'm oppressed, these people are oppressing me, can you stop oppressing me? It doesn't address any core issues that we face, that we are responsible for in our community. And I hate saying we, because that's the whole thing that I don't like about Black Lives Matter. This whole collective notion that, that just as black people, we have to come together, we have to, there has to be some sort of collective solution to our problem. How about taking individual steps first? How about baby steps? How about you help yourself out first? Huh? I don't really know what else I can say. I mean, this was me going purely emotional. I usually have, more detailed, thought out rants, when I'm tackling issues, but y'all just really pissed me off with this one. And I'm not talking about all black people, because granted, all black people aren't responsible for this. But anyone who displays characteristics like this, anyone who behaves in this manner in public or in private, mind you, if you act like this, if this is your go-to mentality when you see a conflict, when you see a problem, this is your idea of a solution, if this is your idea of a response, if this is how you go into a situation, and you think this shit is appropriate, y'all piss me off with this one. And there's a lot of you out there who do this. And now some of you are looking at yourselves like, nah, that ain't me. I would never act like that. That's some ignorant shit right there. Yes, the fuck you would. Lying ass. Yes, the fuck you would. Yes, you would. And if you wouldn't, I bet you got a friend who would. And if they did, you wouldn't, call them out for it. You wouldn't call them out on it. You laugh at this shit. You say, girl, you crazy. Or bro, nigga, nah. Or you'll condone it. You know, saying, oh, that's some real shit, nigga. You real as fuck for that one. Black Lives Matter. I'm sick of you niggas. Out.